Okay, so here is a problem where we have a situation where we want to factor out -1. So we started with 7 over x minus y plus -7 over y minus x. Now it's tempting to think that the denominators of these two problems are the same, but they're actually not, because this one here is x minus y and this is y minus x. So the first thing to recognize is the fact that those are not the same, so you can't just combine them as is. If you go to the next step here, we have 7 over x minus y. What I've done is just rearranged these so they're actually in the same order as the other denominator. So instead of being -7 over y minus x, it's now -7 over -x plus y. So the sign of these two denominators are the same. The negative is still with the x and the positive with the y. But now we can kind of see that they're not the same. One's x minus y, the other one is -x plus y. So the next thing to consider is the fact that the signs of these two denominators are opposites. One of them has a positive x, the other one has a negative. One has a negative y, the other has a positive y. So what that means is that I can actually factor out a -1 to get the signs back to being the same. So in the next step here on purple, what I have is done that. I took 7 divided by x minus y plus -7. And what I've done is factored out that -1. So now it's -1 times x minus y. So now that I have this, these denominator pieces here are the same, which was kind of the intent and the goal of factoring out the -1 to begin with. So if we keep that in mind, now the next step is keeping the first term the same because it doesn't need to change. Over in the second term, we had a -7 divided by a -1, and we know that negative divided by a negative is a positive. So this whole second term becomes positive. So now it's plus 7 over x minus y. So now what we have is a situation where both denominators are the same, which is what we have to have for this to work, and to add fractions. And when we add fractions, what we do is we add the numerators and the denominator stays the same. So it's now 7 plus 7 over x minus y, or 14 over x minus y. And we want to keep in mind whether or not we could reduce that any, but in this case, there's nothing we can do to the numerator or the denominator, so 14 over x minus y is the answer for that one. So I hope this helps. Like I said, the first thing to do is to keep in mind that the denominators are not the same, because if you don't keep that in mind, then you can't get any further. After you recognize they're different, then it's just a matter of what it is that you have to do to make them the same. And as we've seen in this last chapter, sometimes what you have to do is multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the other term so that you can end up with a denominator that includes both terms. But in this case, factoring out the -1 was enough to get the denominators the same so that we could then add those two fractions together. So hope this helps, but if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.